This is Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, and WKIS HD3, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
AM 1470, WNN, with more of what you need to know. Don't miss South Florida's Eat and Critique radio show with Steve-O and Renee, Saturdays at 2. Bring your appetite on South Florida's Health and Wealth Network, AM 1470, WNN.
In times of joy, in moments of grief, broadcasters come through, even when all else fails. Today, with more ways than ever to experience the moments that transform our lives, Americans still choose broadcast radio and television more than all other media combined. We are the local broadcasters of radio and television, reaching more people, touching more lives. Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Know Nothing Show with Allan, Elkins, and Rich Freedman, who have been in the legal profession for over 30 years and now want to share their experience and knowledge with you, the public. Hey, maybe they do know a little about something. Join Allan and Rich by calling in at 888-565-1470 or watching them on elkinsandfreedman.com on Monday nights.
Good night, everybody. How are you? Well, actually, I should say hello, everybody, instead of good night. How are you tonight, my friend Richard?
Not bad. It's been a pretty hectic week, but I'm ready to start it all over again.
All right, and here we go. Let me tell you, I am so excited. I am so enthusiastic tonight. We should have a special guest calling in on the line any moment. His name is David Metch. And what's interesting about Mr. Metch, he was in the national media actually just this past week. And the story, the way that I understand it, he's an extremely knowledgeable and educated individual holding a bachelor's degree in finance from Michigan State. He has a master's from Arizona State University, and I know he's working on his doctorate degree right now at FAU. So, from what I understand, Mr. Metch is a math tutor. He tutors our fine young minds in mathematics in the local South Palm Beach area. And Mr. Metch, for the last couple of years, to get business, has had these banners that you see affixed or attached to the high schools. And apparently, what happened, he ran into some difficulty when some parents apparently found out that not only is he known as the happy/fun math tutor, but he's also known as the happy fun porn guy.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's
You mean he
right.
makes movies?
Makes movies. He writes them. He directs them. He performs in them. He's done over 100 films and such titles as Cable Sex Guy and Bikini Banger.
I don't think I've seen any of those.
Well, I'm sure you have, but you wouldn't tell us even if you did. In any event, I've been assured that he's going to call up and share some insights with us of what it's like. It's gotten to the point where the high schools insisted that these banners be taken down, and now that he's taken them down, they didn't refund any money to him. He's very upset about that. He apparently was making a living, a nice living doing that. And he's considered, or he's in the process of filing a lawsuit against the school board. So
is that right? In federal court?
Well, it said I read it. If he calls in right now, we'll be able to ask him in person, and he's on the line with us. So
great.
we
I'm
can
looking
put
forward
him
to
through.
that.
Here we go, Mr. Metch. Are you there?
I'm here. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I must say, I believe we're putting your picture on the screen. You're quite a handsome man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I know you're 36 years old, and you have a very interesting background. You're quite educated, and it looks like that you've lived in various parts of the country. And if you'd, and in fact, I also know from reading your bio that you yourself had a radio show similar to a Loveline for a period of time in, I guess, in Irvine, California.
Correct.
All right, so listen, you're an interesting guy. Tell me, how on earth, first off, I think the listeners would like to know, how long have you actually been tutoring students here in this area?
I've been tutoring probably since about 2010. It got started, I was applying to PhD programs to research evolutionary psychology and behavioral economics and public health, basically. And I applied to UCLA, and I applied to, Johns Hopkins, Concordia, a lot of these top programs in these areas, and I was really waiting on decisions. I needed something to do. So I'm like, I'll just tutor math. So, I posted some Craigslist ads, and it ended up kind of taking off. I got more and more calls, more word-of-mouth referrals. And I said, wow, this could actually be a business, and I can keep wearing shorts and sandals. I can keep sleeping in and waking up at noon every day because the kids don't get out till 3. It was a very kind of lifestyle-based occupation that was fun. I could go to the beach or the pool during the day, tutor in the evenings, and get by on a decent salary with a great lifestyle. So when I got admitted to the programs, I actually ended up deferring admission. I said, well, let me think about it a little bit more. You can defer for a year and still maintain your acceptance. I deferred for another year. The business continued to grow. I'd taken out the banners at the school, and part of it, I was kind of wondering, as the school, I would assume they do their own kind of due diligence. I give them all the information they're complaining about, like this postal drop mailing address they had from the beginning, which they could have, went to Sunbiz and discovered whatever problem they have on their own.
Well, let's back up. Let me ask you this. How did you end up in God's waiting room, or as we call it, South Florida? You were living in California, correct?
Correct. I was living in California, and then I had actually attended the Kinsey Institute in their PhD program that I was admitted into, and it was freezing cold there. I loved the program. I loved everybody. Had great grades, but it was just too cold. I couldn't maintain living in a cold environment. So I said, I'm just going to come down to Florida. And I had this history sort of with the other business. So I knew other producers and people down here who needed content for the other company. And then I was sort of, working in that. And as all the content sort of, with all the free content for the other business is kind of proliferated on the internet, it's more and more difficult to monetize content. So that's when I said, okay, I want to really explore this PhD thing because I enjoyed it, but doing it in sort of a better climate like Los Angeles or here in Florida. And that's why I ultimately ended up in the computer science.
And I saw you actually taught it, I guess, at Palm Beach College, or 13th grade, as they call it, or at least as my sons call it.
Yeah, I'm an adjunct there. They wanted me to teach last semester. They wanted me to teach this semester. I did teach last semester, but like I said, I have these other projects coming out. I have a documentary. I have a book that's coming out this summer. I'm kind of have my hands in a lot of different pots here. So, I didn't really have the time to really do a lot of teaching. Probably next year in 2014, that's when I'll step up more of the adjunct stuff. But, my issue is really with the fact that, the school district has a problem with the fact that I have this banner.
Well, let's talk about it. Did you get a phone call? You're doing your thing, and out of the blue one day, how were you contacted?
I was contacted by a letter. Certified letter. Yeah, the minute I went to the mailbox, I saw a certified letter from Army Middle School. I'm like, I bet you this is related to the other stuff. And it's, and the funny thing is I've been doing this for 2 years, advertising for over 2 years on the fences. So, the school is maintaining like, hey, this guy, they can find out. We need to remove these banners right away. It's not like they've been up there for 2 days or even 2 months. They were there for 2 years, which is longer than many marriages in this town, And, it's, I don't see what the issue was. And then, they cited their policies, which really don't apply. If you read the policies, I'm assuming since you guys are attorneys, you probably have access to PACER. If you look at the complaint, you'll see, the policies that they cited don't apply to my math tutoring banner at all.
Well, of course not, and let's talk about that, because one of the things, at least that I read in the paper, that you were getting several students a month as a result of the advertising, so you have lost profits. And from what the article said, did they even offer to reimburse you for the cost of the banners?
No, they didn't, but even that would still be irrelevant. You're right, they should have, you know what I mean? But if I had I accepted that, then I would be basically agreeing to their terms of counting the contract, which I wasn't. I think that what they're doing is a violation of the Constitution. The only reason they're pulling down my banners, there's other math tutor banners there. They don't have a problem with math tutoring businesses. And the only thing that's different about my business and these other math tutor businesses is that I happen to own another media company that used to produce adult content in the past. It doesn't currently produce adult content, and I'm entitled to do that. I'm entitled to sort of express myself, if you will, in that manner, freedom of speech, all that stuff. And that's even applied to the states through the due process clause of the 14th Amendment.
So do you actually have a pending suit in federal court right now?
Correct. We have a suit filed April 30th in the federal court in South Florida.
All right, I'm going to make a point to look that up, and you and I can chat, because obviously we're not going to have enough. From what I understand, you have students to teach tonight, to tutor, correct?
Correct. Oh, yeah. This week is a lot of students are studying for the EOC, which is the end of course exam. That's sort of the state mandate to make sure everybody has a minimum knowledge. And, the interesting thing is, sort of my issue with it is, I didn't lose a single long-term client. I've had clients.
There you go. That was my next question. Did you keep your regulars?
I did, and here's the thing, and they know me. I mean, obviously, everybody cares about their children. Nobody would want their children in any kind of harm's way, et cetera. These people all know me. They've known me for years. They know I'm a nice guy, have no criminal background. I'm overly qualified to tutor math.
Right.
So by removing those banners and even the publicity that comes from saying, hey, here's this guy that's a tutor, but he also owns a business that used to produce adult media, people kind of shy away just at the word. I mean, you hear the word pornography, and there's just some sort of negative connotation with it, which is really based on ignorance because people don't understand the business. And the analogy that he uses is that of alligators. I'm an avid kayaker. I'm always around alligators. Alligators are more scared of you than you are of them. And anytime an alligator has ever done anything, it's because somebody fell off their bike and landed on the alligator, or they're pestering the alligator.
Dave, let me just ask you a question I've got to know. Once this information came out, and I'm sure that some of the parents wanted to chat with you, my probing question is, did any of the mothers kind of give you a wink and say, hey, buddy, I took a look at one of your films?
The thing is, I'm very, none of that would bother me. I mean, no, I mean, maybe, I'm assuming they probably have, but, to me, I come from, I'm from Los Angeles, so not from there, but I've lived there for so long, and to me, saying, hey, I saw you doing activity A is no different from saying, hey, I saw you on the Golf Channel playing golf. Like, to me, these are all.
I know there's a putter
behaviors.
joke in there somewhere, but I'm not going to go there.
I have a question for him.
Here, hold on. My partner has a question.
You're not making these adult films, I guess, X-rated films. You're not making them anymore? You stopped making them?
No, we're not. Yeah, and the reason we stopped has nothing to do with any kind of a moral issue or problem with the business. It's purely a business decision. With all the proliferation of content on tube sites and torrent sites and the piracy, you can still make money in the business, but it's not nearly as easy to monetize content.
When did you stop making these films?
Well, the same when you stop making a film is like asking a writer when you stop writing. I mean, like we start. When did you write your last book? When did you write your last chapter of a book? When did you write your last article? When did you last write a letter to your friend? Right. So for me, we stopped producing full movies, meaning we were responsible for all aspects of production, meaning the editing, the post-production, everything. Back in actually 2005. The last video that we produced, just all the scenes for the movie with no post-production involvement, was 2008. The last time we shot a scene as a component of other scenes shot by other producers was in 2010. And we might have even shot like a spec content scene that wasn't distributed, just to kind of say, hey, maybe this was a concept that might work, to kind of regenerate traffic, maybe in 2011 or even 2012. But that was never distributed. So it's kind of like, and even this, I have a documentary. I have a documentary that's actually coming out this year in 2013 where we have, topless girls. Some people would consider topless girls pornography. So it really depends who are you talking to and what is your definition of what pornography is.
Right. Well, that makes perfect sense. Let me ask you, the name Pounder, where did that come in?
Well, obviously working in the business, it's kind of like a lot of times people want to use an alias just, because unfortunately, some people have a problem with certain things like that. My friend of mine actually was like, hey, you need a name, blah, blah, blah. And he had suggested it, so I just kind of went along with that.
All right, now I got to ask you this: you go out of your way in your bio to say you're the only male performer, or was the only male performer in the business who did not engage in anal sex, refused to perform scenes involving violence or degrading of women. I get the violence and degrading of women. Why no anal?
I mean, again, it's personal preference. It's like if you are a food critic, whatever, and you just are a vegetarian, maybe you're just a vegetarian food critic. I've always told people in life, just, do whatever, don't ever do anything that doesn't make you feel comfortable. So if I was working at a bank and, they wanted me to hang out on a ledge and take a conference call, I'm not going to do it. I'm not comfortable with that. So there's just certain things that I'm comfortable doing, certain things that I'm not. The public health data regarding that type of behavior actually isn't very promising. If you look at sort of HIV distribution, of how it's transmitted. I mean, if you're taking a random population of people who are infected with HIV, overwhelmingly most of them are homosexual. When you look at heterosexual transmission of HIV, it's almost exclusively transmitted during anal sex. So when you look at those heterosexual transmissions, it's not so much that HIV is necessarily homosexual.
Well, I assume when you perform, then you probably always use a condom, correct?
Well, the industry is very that's what the documentary is about. If you go to riskybusinessthemovie.com, you can sort of watch a trailer.
Yeah, give yourself a plug. What would you like to give us in terms of either your math tutoring skills or this documentary you're shooting? We're coming up on a hard break. Can you stay with us, or do we need to do this another day with you?
We got to do it another day because I got to run to a thing here in about 10 minutes.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'm going to call you back. We'd like to have you in studio if we could, and we really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Sure, no problem. I appreciate the call.
All right, thanks. We're going to take a break now, and we'll be back shortly after our commercial break.
Life is so overwhelming right now. The emotional and financial challenges are too much. More debt than you can possibly handle? Facing divorce or other family law problems? Injured and don't know where to turn? Where can I get solid, affordable legal guidance? At Elkins and Freedman, an experienced lawyer will explain options and treat you with humanity. They help people throughout Central and South Florida solve these problems. This is a law firm you can trust, and they actually pick up the phone. They have a 30-year track record of positive results, and they make legal costs manageable for people from all walks of life. Make the call, 954-372-2630. When you visit, you might even meet Tiffany, the office mascot. Elkins and Freedman take the intimidation and worry out of getting the legal help you really need. Call today, 954-372-2630, and begin to make sense of your life.
Hello, everybody. We're back on the air. I just want everybody, if you were tuned in last week, we have a segment called Tell Us About Your Ex. It can be your ex-spouse. It can be your ex-girlfriend. We'd like to hear what you have to say. Do we have any callers on the line, Mr. Freedman?
I don't see any right now, but I'm sure they'll be coming along. Oh, the engineer says there's a call coming through.
Who do we have on the line right now?
Well, there's one call here from a gentleman by the name of Leslie. So let's see what he has to say.
Leslie, or how did you know he was a gentleman? Leslie, I would have thought was a woman. Leslie, are you a guy or a gal? Leslie, do you speak?
I've been known to, yes, in many cases.
All right, what do you want to ask us?
Got a quick question for you. Maybe you can give me some advice. Recently, a few months ago, I was involved in an automobile accident, pretty bad one, and it was here in Boca Raton, and a drunk driver smashed into my automobile, and the guy was cited, and I guess he was a 72-year-old gentleman who had admitted to the police that he had quite a few drinks in him at the time. And I sustained some injury to my shoulder. I went to the emergency room and saw a doctor. And it's been a few months. And the insurance company, I guess it may make an offer to me at some point. But I haven't really gone out and sought the advice of an attorney. In this case where basically it was pretty much cut and dry, where basically their insurance is assuming responsibility, in your opinion, is there a need or a benefit for me to seeking legal recourse, through an attorney at this point?
Well, yeah, let me answer that question for you. It takes some skill to evaluate a case, to put a dollar amount on your injuries. The insurance company, if you talk to an adjuster without an attorney, they're going to offer you some amount of money which you might feel is reasonable, but you have to take into account all your injuries and the long-term effects of being injured and what you may not be able to do in the future. If you don't get an attorney involved in this case, in your injury case, then you may not be compensated the appropriate amount of money that you're entitled to be compensated for. And once you sign a release, that's it. You can't come back later and ask for money. So my advice to you is to talk to an attorney. My law firm handles personal injury cases, so you're welcome to call us or call any attorney that handles personal injury cases.
No, don't call any attorney. Call us, Leslie. Okay. Leslie, I think we have a call on the line right now. We have to run, but thank you for calling, and please check us out on our website, elkinsandfreedman.com. Do we have another call here, Richard?
Thanks, you, Leslie. Not quite yet. So.
Oh, not quite yet. All right. Well, in that case,
it's still early. So
in that case,
let's not rush it.
In that case, I'm really sorry I rushed Leslie off the line.
Well, I'm sure he'll call back sometime.
Yeah, well, All right, hopefully that'll be the office. Bottom line, while we're trolling for calls here, and if you're out there, I'd certainly like you to call in. But let's talk about some current events if we shall.
I love current events. Go ahead.
Love current events. All right. Well, we have a call right now.
No.
Nobody yet. Geez, complete dead air. The number is 888-565-1470. I was just texted, and I was told we had somebody calling in on us.
No, I don't think so. They must have hung up or called another station by mistake.
Either that or fell asleep when they heard Leslie speak.
But again, 888-565-1470. Please feel free to call in and ask your questions. But let me ask you, Alan, in the past week, have you had any interesting stories? Any clients come to the office that you found a little unusual?
Well, yeah, actually, I did. We just picked up a nice new divorce case, Richard, where apparently the husband, in an attempt to get rid of all his assets prior to filing, including several gas stations and a tire company, necessary to transfer those assets to his wife. So we'll be going after him very soon, trying to get back our fair share of those assets. Things like that really aggravate me. You know, it's one thing to get divorced. I realize not every case can be uncontested, but the fact of the matter is that, you know, there's a certain level of decency you just don't tend to see as much as you did years ago, and it's unfortunate.
But you said he transferred his assets to somebody else?
In anticipation of filing divorce, he saw fit to put them in his sister's name.
And he thinks he's going to get away with it.
They always think they're going to get away with it until they get in front of a judge, and then it's another story. Oh, I understand we have a call finally on the line, Richard.
Guess what? We have Tammy from Fort Lauderdale. I wonder if this is the same Tammy from last week talking to us about the dog food.
Tammy, is that you where the husband was eating cheese out of a dog bowl?
Yes, it is.
Tammy, can you possibly top that? Do you have any other stories that are every bit as unusual or odd as that?
Well, yes, I do.
Oh, and tell us.
It pertains to food also.
Okay. Tell us more.
Well, as I was telling you before, I was married to him, got a divorce. But when my family and I would sit down for dinner, he would get up from the table and go to the refrigerator and open it and more or less guard the refrigerator.
Guard? How would he guard it? With a knife or a gun?
Well, no, he felt very safe when he would open both of the doors. I have a double door refrigerator, and he would just stare into the refrigerator and more or less, I don't know, I think he was thinking that to make sure that the food that he had in there was still there. So he definitely had a food problem. Then he would close the doors and go back again and open the doors and check the fridge again.
Now, this is not the same husband as last week.
This is a different husband?
This is a different husband?
No, this is the same one.
The same husband. Okay. So this guy definitely has some food issues in his life.
Well, wait.
Yes.
Stop the everything here. What made you think it was a different husband?
From her talking, it sounds like she has multiple husbands. I mean, she wasn't married just once.
This is a very important question. How many husbands are we talking here, caller?
Oh, I was married before for 21 years. This was the last husband that I was married to, and I was only married twice.
Okay.
All right. Well,
that's not so bad. My partner's been married 3 times, so you're still he's still ahead of you.
One of them was very short. We don't count her. I barely remember her name. So, right there.
Can I help you think of it?
You remember her name?
Sure.
No, don't say it.
I won't say it because she may be listening.
Well, I doubt that. Otherwise, maybe she'd call. Do we have any other callers by any chance? I'm getting text messages telling me there's a Jenny calling in. Is there
a Jenny?
No Jenny, Mr. Board Operator.
She must be calling CNN or something.
Jenny,
I don't know. She's not calling here.
If you're listening, I just don't understand it. But Jenny, if you're there, you have 5 minutes left, and the number is 888-565-1470.
All right, let's
So,
wait for that phone to ring.
So carry on, caller. So any other odd or abhorrent behavior?
Yes. One of the strangest things that he used to do is when he would go outside late at night, not only with the dog bowls, but he would roam the neighborhood and come back with several different items. Sometimes
you mean like a dog? He would go out there like a scavenger, actually looking for things, like digging up a bone in somebody's backyard and bringing it back into your house?
Well, he did come back one time with an animal bone. Yes.
What kind of animal?
He came back with a bucket, and he also came back with a rake.
With a rake?
Oh, jeez. Let me ask you this: did you hear our last caller? Or not our last caller, but our first guest. Did you hear David?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you missed David. He was a porn star. I'm wondering, are you a single lady right now?
Oh, yes, I am. But I think that, I'm just going to remain single.
I was thinking maybe I could play matchmaker.
Oh, no. I would just prefer to be out in the woods after I married this guy and just, have my dog, myself, and some peace and quiet.
Well, that
sounds
very
like a
nice.
good idea.
Listen, you've been great helping us out in our time of need. I don't know if the desperation for calls has bled through sufficiently, but I thank you for calling us tonight.
Okay, and next time I'll catch you earlier. I have some more things.
Okay.
I'll get the best of it yet.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you very much for that. Okay.
All right, so what have we learned tonight? We have a couple minutes remaining.
Well, David was pretty interesting about, here it is, that was his past life. He's not doing that anymore.
Right.
But yet now the school doesn't want him, I guess, tutoring children because something he did years ago. Not that was so terrible, but he's not doing it anymore.
Well, it's an interesting thing because I talked to one of my clients today, and I said, I'm going to have this guy on. Would you allow your kids to be tutored by this guy?
What'd she say?
And she said, no, I don't want him tutoring my children. Would I watch his films? Yes. Would I have a party to him? Yes. But I don't want him tutoring my kids. Now, to me as a guy, do I actually care? I have so many questions I'd like to ask the guy about the industry. How did he get into it? And we will make no mistake, have him on. Looks like,
we got a call coming in.
I think we have a call coming in.
Hopefully it's not a wrong number.
It might be. That might be the best news.
Okay.
I think we've got 2 minutes left.
I think they're ordering a pizza.
That's what I think. I'm looking at the guy behind the screen. Anything coming up here?
No.
Nothing.
Oh, here it is. It's Jenny. Jenny, are you there?
Jenny.
Yes.
Are you there? Jenny, you have exactly 2 minutes to share some weird story. Otherwise, it's going to have to wait for another day.
Well, I'm calling about my ex-husband and catching him wearing my lingerie.
Oh, my God. We've run out of time, Jenny, but thank you for calling.
Hold on. I'm not done yet.
Oh,
Victoria's Secret or something else?
Was he really wearing your lingerie? You caught him?
Yes, I actually came home from work, and I took a shower and came out, and he was laying in our bed dressed in my lingerie, telling me that maybe, I wanted to be with a woman, so he would dress up like one.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
What kind of lingerie are we talking? Are we talking teddy? We talking flannels? We talking bra and panties?
We're talking teddy.
Teddies,
nice
all right.
Black and pink lace outfit.
Oh, Jenny.
He has good taste.
You have to promise me to call back. I'm told him we have to wrap it up. We're out of time. This has been great, Jenny. Next time, call in a little sooner if you would.
Well, maybe she can call the office tomorrow. I can listen to her in my spare time.
Next time, pictures. We can take pictures. So send them to elkinsandfreedman.com. Thanks for calling, Jenny.
Thanks.
Everybody, I hear the music in the background. It looks like we're out of time. We've had another fun-filled half an hour with you, and we certainly hope if you're listening out there, you go ahead and report us to the station. No, what I mean is tell the station that you really like us.
Good night, everybody. We better go. We'll see you next Monday.
Elkins and
Same time.
Freedman's Know Nothing Show, where maybe you learned a little something today. To reach their offices, call 954-772-6014. or 561-738-5988.